Today's AskReddit post. Serious, dark web users of Reddit. Was there ever a point in your use that you felt you were genuinely in danger? What happened? Oh boy, this is gonna be a good one. Let's get started. I've never personally felt I was in actual danger, so to speak, since I take proper precautions. But early on I did accidentally come across a site forum while exploring that was filled with snuff photos of women people had assaulted and then knocked out or killed. Shut down my browser pretty quick after that, but felt uneasy for a long time after. Don't frequent it a lot, but once I accidentally left my browser in full screen and a stranger in a chat room asked me if my curved monitor was nice. Freaked me out a bit. Not dark web, but I wanted to install Windows 7 on my old PC, so I installed the ISO file from some website and everything was working good for like 1 hour, but then porn started appearing on my screen and I was like WTFFF. Chat box opened and camera turned on. He told me I have nice eyes, and after that I just turned off the PC and did a clean install of Windows 10. It's always good to keep in mind that a good virus runs silently in the background. Guy just wanted to be a dick. He could have done much worse things. Removed. Webcam turned itself on once. That was scary. I immediately unplugged it and my network cable. Ran 3 complete scans of my system for malware and viruses. Found nothing. Hasn't happened since. This happened to one of my friends. He said the camera turned on and he was redirected to another website where he saw his own face and some kind of official seal with an eagle on the side. He didn't read what any of that said because he shut down his PC as fast as he could. He was really quiet and anxious for the next days I saw him at school. The first day he looked very scared and even looked pale. This was what prompted me to ask what happened. Had a buddy who used to order weed. The distributor got busted and the postal service let him know there was a suspicious package for him. He could either pick it up or it would be destroyed. Did he go to receive the package? Not unless he is a total idiot. Getting an illegal package addressed to you leaves you with plausible deniability if you've purchased it anonymously and covered your tracks. You can say, "No thanks. I don't want anything to do with that because I have no idea what it is." And that'll be that. You just have to suck up the sunk costs. Trying to pick it up after you've been told it was suspicious and being held will earn you a nice talk with the authorities. "Hey, we have your suspicious package here and we're gonna destroy it if you don't come get it." To be honest, if I didn't know what was in it I'd probably try and find out due to curiosity. Didn't order any meth, but if someone's shipping me any I'd like to know. Yeah, accepting a suspicious package definitely doesn't seem like enough to charge you. If I randomly got a call from the post office saying that, I'd definitely be picking it up. If it's anthrax, it is what it is. The idea that the dark web is an extremely shocking and dangerous place is largely inaccurate. It's mostly weird libertarian blogs and very sterile Amazon type websites for drugs, complete with reviews of different vendors. I remember my friend showing me where he bought his drugs online and seeing how well kept and formal it was. Like you said, it really was just an Amazon type website for drugs with friendly and thorough reviews. Even saw in Reddit at the top something along the lines of, "Website name. Moderators will never ask for your password." I was pleasantly surprised to say the least, haha. Even saw in Reddit at the top something along the lines of, "Website name. Moderators will never ask for your password." Now I'm just imagining some neopets looking sites selling drugs. I'm going to be camped at the money drug tree. Everything feels government owned. I used to frequent drug sites. They would go down for weeks at a time, then pop up again. Have weird prices. Sellers were different. It made the dark web feel like a labyrinth more than a ruleless wasteland. Removed. Came across a Chan style site. Every post was about trains. Wouldn't say I felt in danger, but I felt so out of the loop that I was missing something that I just got off. Removed. You don't just stumble onto the scary parts of the dark web. You had to have been looking for something sinister if you happen to come across one of the sites. Even then, getting access to said sites isn't as easy as most of them are invite based. Most of it is just the normal internet with questionable forums. Think 4chan but slightly worse. And petty drugs. It's very hard to reach the criminal parts of the dark web unless you have very specific URLs, and even then the host has the option to deny you access. However, once you're in, it can become a slippery slope. I'm willing to bet 99% of the sites you just stumble across while browsing the dark web that talk about scary things such as hiring hitmen, money laundering, hacking, whatever, are just there for shock value. There are several such sites on the first pages of Onion link lists that have been up for years. If they were real, law enforcement surely would have been able to track them down by now. It's actually pretty easy for people over the internet to hide from law enforcement, especially when they aren't all in one place and are basically experts at hacking, hiding their location. There are dark websites that do get seized by law enforcement, although it's not super common, as it's hard to track them down like you stated. Usually the sites that are seized are pretty prominent ones, which is why I believe these popular shock sites are just that, shock value. Otherwise they wouldn't be on so many link lists for years. From what I understand, they usually have to make really dumb mistakes outside of the whatever anonymity techniques they are using on the internet. Most of these people are not caught because the technology failed. They are caught because they failed to keep all of the information they put on the hidden internet anonymous. The guy who got busted running that giant Bitcoin drug market got caught because he was connecting to an internet cafe and a public library under the same login credentials as his darknet accounts and profiles. On top of that, he wrote on several darknet forums a bunch of information that was able to be pieced together and then compared to postings on a normal internet forum where he made an ostensibly braggadocious claim about being a major drug kingpin. Among the information that stripped him of his anonymity was writings on a libertarian ideology that were copy-pasted from a normal internet forum post, a claim that he had a degree in chemical engineering, and discussions on his favorite philosophers and artists. All of that together was enough to convince a judge that the guy running the drug market could reasonably be assumed to be the guy making those forum posts, and started issuing search warrants. And they were correct. Never once did the technical aspects of his darknet technology fail to protect him. He was just an idiot. Drugs seized. Paranoid months. Nothing happened. R6 Ward stories. Damn, I didn't know that existed. There's hitmen, human trafficking and snuff films and such, but a vast majority of these sites are scams asking you to send them Bitcoin. A small portion of users on the dark web would be there for this sort of stuff. However, buying drugs online is quite popular and widespread. Single vendors can have $500, 000 plus in lifetime sales. It's quite safe to use. You use PGP to encrypt your address so only the seller of the drugs has access to your private info. If your package is seized, they have no proof you ordered it unless they seize your computer and you have that information stored on it. You can use Tails USB to avoid this. Even if your packages get seized, you'll often get a love letter saying what they seized and there is no follow-up after that. Removed. I can't imagine many people order weed from the dark web. It's everywhere and there's just no point. There's way too much risk and not enough reward involved for both the buyer and seller. When people get drugs mailed to them, it's almost always pills, prescription pharmaceuticals and imitations, MDMA, ETC, or LSD or analogous research chems that can be put on blotter paper and inserted into a greeting card. Way easier to conceal. Way better profit margins for the seller. Usually more difficult to find locally. In the UK here, sure, getting weed is relatively easy, but just the sheer convenience of online shopping beats any dealer interaction that I've had. Also, the selection is hands down on a different level. I once bought a bit of weed and I received a blackmail letter threatening me with awful things, like sending CP and calling the police if I didn't send 1 BTC, $1,000 at the time. I was scared shitless, but nothing ever happened. Always check the reviews before buying anything. Damn boy, should have invested in Bitcoin. I used to photo edit pictures for people back in the day on 4chan. They'd offer to pay me like 50 bitcoins to do something, but I was just learning Photoshop for fun and didn't feel like learning how to set up a wallet because they were only used to buy drugs at the time and I didn't do drugs anymore. I often wonder where I'd be in life if I kept doing drugs and accepted the thousands of bitcoins people tried to give me over the years. I remember the last time I did a job on there, someone offered me 1 bitcoin. I was like, this cheap methodica, why is he offering me 1/10 of a coin for this work? And I looked up prices and he was offering me like $15, and that's when the realization of what I had turned down sank in. F for you. Accidentally stumbled upon some CP once. Noped out pretty fast but was still worried for weeks the FBI would come after me. The worst thing is, you can stumble across that shit on regular porn sites. 2. I stumbled across some pics once on one of the more well-known sites, and there was no ducking visible option to report it. I don't think I've ever been so disgusted in my entire life. Yeah, I've heard a lot about those kinds of things on Pornhub and it's insane how it's allowed to persist. I knew somebody that worked as a screener for uploads on Pornhub years ago. The shit she said she had to sift through and manually report to the police freaked her out. Something like that is why I chose a general programming database degree over computer forensics. I wouldn't be able to sift through a pedophile's computer and log all that shit for evidence. The scariest moment for me was when I stumbled upon a creepy UG and thought it was something much more sinister, until I found out it was just an UG. The dark web isn't really that scary. It has been romanticized and exaggerated by creepypastas, TV shows and etc. Edit. I know stuff like the Red Room and CP exist on the dark web. It's just that it is not that common. Most are scams or require a membership. The common user won't find much, but you will find something really off-putting if you dig enough. What does UG mean? Be safe, boys and girls. Don't give out your information or communicate with others. And if you plan on purchasing anything, use a secure Linux OS like Tails. Use private keys. Connect to a public Wi-Fi spot, not your house. Encrypt all messages. Use multi-signature markets so your chances of losing your Bitcoin lessens. Escrow preferably. Never send your Bitcoins from a wallet attached to you directly to the seller. Tumble your coins first. And when the package arrives, don't open it for a few days. A friend of mine gave me all this info and told me I should help you guys out. Why wouldn't you want to open the package immediately? If Leos come looking for it, you have plausible deniability. Randomly got this. Didn't order it myself. True 420 IQ play. Not really a dark web user, but I got doxxed by an Nazi group on the dark web and ended up having to use the dark web to find the websites that had my information. Department of Homeland Security and the FBI showed up on my doorstep because they were threatening to send me letter bombs and send people to abduct and arm me. It was scary shit. They all fell off the face of the earth recently, so I'm just hoping the feds got to them. Edit. I elaborated more in the comments. Feel free to ask questions, but I might not give too much more information out. I don't want to be identified by anyone who's come across my docs or is associated with a group who did this in the first place. I'm glad the DHS and FBI came to protect you. They are surprisingly good at looking out for individuals. They have entire task forces designed just for that. Don't forget, we, USA, built the dark web and gave it to them world. Have you actually been on the dark web? It's actually quite hard to find bad things. Are you confusing the dark web with the deep web maybe? Removed. I actually learned how to access the dark web by listening to NPR. They had a segment where an author who was writing a book about it basically gave step-by-step instructions on how to do it. I did everything he said and, by golly, it worked. Truthfully, it was pretty underwhelming. Mostly just drugs and counterfeit items, passports, money, etc. I did find some weapons with the serial numbers scratched off, pistols and shotguns, but nothing that would start World War III. I also saw a couple ads for hitmen, but they seemed pretty hokey and were most likely undercover cops. I never felt in danger, but I have never gone back because there's nothing I really want from there. No government agents have kicked down my door, either. You know how World War I started, right? With one Slavic Chad. A friend of mine used to use Silk Road on the darknet when Bitcoin was $10 a pop. He placed at least 100 orders through it and never had any issues. It's a shame he didn't keep all the Bitcoin he bought because he would have been a millionaire now. I'll never forget when BTC jumped from 13 to 150 over a few months. The only real difference between the internet you and I are using right now and the dark web is that you need special software or configurations to access it. You have plenty of opportunities of finding bad shit on the regular web. With that in mind, I'd say that the regular web is more dangerous since it lulls you into a sense of security. I mean, most people these days have a significant amount of their personal information on there. The dark web you're likely going to have a sense to be more anonymous. Personally, I just used it for playing a WoW private server back in the day since the hosts didn't want to get a C&D from Blizzard. The Clernet is totally more dangerous. Most people don't use Tor to browse it, so they're missing out on an incredibly powerful protection tool. I mean 99% of people don't need to be Tor level protected, and Tor is slow as shit. It's pretty boring. I used it to buy drugs a few times, which was nice. Wow, what kind of places sell LSD so I know what to stay away from? So I know where to stay away from. There are clean, well-produced drugs, and then there are shit, diluted, altered, spiked drugs. It's a totally good and genuine question. Vendors all have reviews, so credibility and clean stuff is easy to find. I was trying to buy those super cool laser pointers and I got a random message saying I know where you live. I note out of that site straight away. Not drugs. Not a fake passport. A cool looking laser pointer. Respect. So I had ordered many times on the dark web, but one day I decided to place a rather large order of XTC pills from Europe to the USA. I had a terrible feeling in my gut after the order was placed and actually had some serious food poisoning or something that night, lol. Cut to weeks later, I ended up getting arrested for the pills and entering the worst time of my entire life. Damn, that sucks, bro. I did time for narcotics sales a few years back. You will get through it. Hang in there, my dude. You all both have Russian names. Religious Silk Road and CGMC user here. I used to get the stuff delivered to my dorm, but the package didn't come directly to my room. I had to go pick it up from my dorm building office. For my third or fourth order from Silk Road, I got an email saying that a package had arrived for me, but when I went to pick it up I was told by a RA that my package was in the door's office. I was freaked out. I also for some reason was getting a lot of spam calls, which added to my anxiety. I was scared shitless. I didn't go to pick it up for like 4 days and kept getting emails from the door to come pick it up. I didn't go because I thought that it was a setup. But after a couple days I said duck it because I had paid a lot of BTC for that order, so I went to pick it up. It was literally nothing. The people holding onto my order couldn't have been more nicer. They couldn't give me a reason why that package was delivered there and not to my dorm. So I just ordered more, lol. Edit. The package was usually delivered by USPS Priority, which is ran by the federal government, and I went to a state university. So technically the federal government transported illegal goods to the state government for me, LMAO. Dark web ain't scary B. I once bought a big crate of cup noodles for a cheap price. You made me feel safe again after going through this entire thread. I stumbled on an animal torture page. Uninstalled Tor just a few seconds after, but the mental scarring is for life. Edit. Since many people have asked how I stumbled on such a thing, this is how. Well, I was browsing a hidden wiki, and if my memory serves correctly, the entries were drug sellers. Now, I don't do drugs, child porn, nope. Not my fetish, hitman services, nope, not yet. Credit card numbers, I am pretty well off right now. So not needed. Animal torture, I have watched those videos published by PETA, and yes, they were disturbing but not at all horrifying, and defiantly did not convert me to veganism. How bad can this be? Asterisk. Oh, how wrong I was. Asterisk. That shit is on the clean web. I now see clicking on this thread was a mistake. Yup, I'm traumatized. Not dark web, but mid-90s web. I was 12, and obviously puberty was in control. This was chat room days. Kid I was acquainted with, an Eagle Scout nonetheless, had all these floppy, and I mean floppy disks full of pornographic images from some asshole supposedly in Texas. Me and a few other friends were over puberty, so were eager to see naked women. It soon took a quick turn with girls that were likely my age. I immediately noped the duck out and never really talked to the kid again. But knowing the Boy Scouts, I wasn't getting involved. But I was like 13 and didn't even wanna tell my mom I was interested in women. I regret that day a lot. I should have called the police. Sadly, I just compartmentalized it. 1996 was weird. You could probably still report that. People like that don't tend to change much. My physics teacher's classroom mate, another physics teacher, was busted for terabytes of kiddie porn. And I imagine that started young. I would join no group that would have me, Walker Whitman. I believe groups of people cover for their own, and that's especially true for pedos. Boy Scouts, churches, great potential for cover-ups and to find people with similarly distasteful interests. Obligatory. Not all churches are bad nor Boy Scouts, but it's a lot more likely to occur there, I think. While the Texas guy should be reported, it's not particularly unusual for kids to want to see people their own age. So the kid who received them might not be a pedophile, but the Texas guy certainly is. Bro, you actually watched the whole video. I'd give you a high five if I was a human. Make sure to click the like button and subscribe for more great content. See you next time.